Somebody go tell Chef Boyardee to sit his big ass down somewhere acting a fucking fool. What? Welcome back to the Bad Boys Texas After Show. I'm so glad you're here. Season 2, episode 5, right? Is that what episode we're on? Bad Boys Texas. Some things went down tonight, and you better believe we're going to talk about it. Listen, I'm so excited that you're here, but before we get started, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button right below this video. Also, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and like the video. When you do that, it supports the channel and helps me out so much, so I would appreciate that. Last but not least, join the conversation. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this episode. My, oh my. I don't even know where to begin with this episode, but I do know one thing. That Chef D is one thirsty ass, clout chasing, dick riding motherfucker. If I ever seen a clout chasing dick rider, stunt queen pump faker, it's Chef D. Chef D, what are you doing? You're trying to make us like you, and it's failing miserably. We don't like you, Chef D. As a matter of fact, if you go to the Zeus Network Instagram page and you look at one of their Bad Boys Texas posts, every comment is talking about how much people cannot stand Chef D. Let's get into it. This episode starts with Chef D attacking Raz B on the bus. Remember last week, he was so upset that he paid for bottles in the club, and he felt like Carry On and Raz B were trying to avoid him and not pay him their cut of the tab. Now, granted, if this is true, I could see where Chef D is upset. However, I feel like we're not getting all the details here because Chef D is a what now? He's a stunt queen. And what do stunt queens do? They stunt. They lie. So I don't know. We don't know right off the bat. Did Raz B and did Carry On try to stiff the bill purposely? I don't know. They both seem like they got some money. They got some change. So why would they be trying to purposely stiff the bill from you, Chef D? I'm not saying Chef D's lying. But one thing I will say about Chef D is he's doing the absolute most throughout this episode. And we're going to get on his ass. We're going to get on his ass. My thing is, what is wrong with this big girl to where she's acting a fucking fool and just attacking Raz B like that out of nowhere? It didn't warrant that at all. Now, when Raz gets off the bus, he's upset. He wants to leave the show at this point. Orlando follows him off the bus and is trying to calm him down and console him. And I'm like, Orlando, you the one who started all this shit, bro. What are you doing? You trying to console a Raz B now after you done stirred the pot? Okay. I low-key sort of felt bad for Raz B. Kind of. Because I just feel like he didn't deserve that. He doesn't come off to me like he's a big fighter. And to me, what I'm seeing is that Chef D likes to bully. He likes to use his size, and he likes to try to bully and bulldoze people with his size. When in reality, the motherfucker can't fight for shit. I ain't seen him really connect a lick since the first episode. Not one time has he whooped someone's ass. Now, to me, it's giving weirdo vibes. Chef D is giving major weirdo vibes, and this is exactly why, Zeus, y'all should have just hired him for the chef as the chef and not a cast member, because he's doing just such weird shit that I feel like even all the boys are looking at him like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? Like, and you know what it feels like? Honestly, y'all, it feels like Chef D is trying to have a Bad Girls Club limo moment. Y'all know on Bad Girls Club, they'd always get to fighting in the limos. Every time they get in the limo to go home from the club or wherever, they get to scrapping. And I feel like Chef D been watching a little too much Bad Girls Club, so he's trying to emulate Bad Girls. And it's not working. And you know what? I'm still stunned that Saucy Santana dated this girl. Like, oh, you was real desperate, Santana. If I see why y'all split though. You had to be the one that broke up with D, because I know you couldn't put up with that shit. And just curious, who was doing the bending out of y'all two? Santana, out of you and D, was you bending D over? Because that's what not saying that sexual roles define masculinity or femininity, but Chef D is very much giving me the bitch of the situation. He gives me the one that does the bending out of him and Santana. Like, Chef D, you so goddamn girly, you got Santana beat. You sitting up here trying to act like this tough ass dude, but you look like a little girl. It's what it's giving. Now, let's talk about Carry On. Carry On, my boy, what are you doing? What is Carry On doing? We see Chef D keeps trying to run up on Carry On. He wants his money back from Carry On. And instead of trying to talk to Carry On about the situation, instead of trying to be a man and an adult and sit down and talk to him about what your issue is, he keeps trying to run up on Carry On. And what does Carry On do? He takes off running. Carry On is just running, trying to get D tired, trying to get away from him. Carry On wants no parts. He ain't trying to fight. And I am dead. I am like, Carry On, what is you doing? You should have just clocked his big ass right in the head one time and shut him the fuck up. That's what I would have done. Clocked him one good time in the head. And then here go D. After D's done all this running around and bullying and bulldozing people and chasing after people and cussing them out in their face and doing all this extra shit, then he goes and climbs up in the bus and he does the classic, get the cameras out my face. Get the cameras out. Shut the fuck up, D, for we knock you in the face with one of these cameras. Bitch, you signed up for a reality show, ho. What the fuck you mean get the cameras out your face, ho? Hell no. You want a show, you gonna get filmed. You want your check, don't you? You big dummy. Now listen, at some point, I do kind of see where Carry On is coming from. Not the whole running, like, not the whole running from Chef D, because I wouldn't have ran from him. I just would have clocked him one good time in the head. But I can kind of see where Carry On comes from, to where he don't want to fight. Not everybody likes to fight. You know, I think some people have the preconceived idea that they're going to come onto this show and they're just going to party and have fun, maybe cuss a few bitches out, maybe do a little, you know, rah-rah here and there. But I don't think everybody wants to come on this show and fight. Yeah, I don't think everybody wants to come on this show. Because listen, if it was me, I want to come on the show. I want to party. I want to smoke blunts, meet cute guys, go out to the club, get paid, live in these nice houses, turn up on the bus while we're riding. You know what I'm saying? I would want to do that. Granted, if somebody wanted to fight, I'm going to defend myself. But who wants to just start shit? And who wants to just be fighting all day? You know? So I kind of understand where Carry On's coming from. Now, let's switch over to Orlando. Because all this time, I have kind of not really stood up for Orlando, but I kind of noticed that for what the media portrays Orlando as, or what Orlando has portrayed to us, I don't even want to say the media. We've seen Orlando be erratic and have these, you know, crazy things that he says in these interviews, and we've always thought that he was just disturbed, on drugs, or having a mental health crisis. But the first 4 episodes of Bad Boys, I said, Orlando seems more sane than anyone on the cast. But baby, tonight did he turn that ship around. And he showed us the side that we've seen in the media when it comes to him. Because Orlando's cannon fired off tonight. Because we see where Ara asks Orlando, didn't all this shit between D and Razby pop off because you asked something? Didn't you kind of start all this shit? And as soon as he asked Orlando that question, we see Orlando go from 0 to nothing. And just, I wasn't expecting it. I was like, wait, where did that come from? I say what I want to say. I say what I want to say. I say what I want to say. That's what he kept saying over and 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 over again. And I'm just like, what the fuck? What, like, did somebody leave dude's medication back in Houston? Like, what is happening? Like, I would have kind of been a little scared at that moment if I was on the bus. I'd have been like, is this bro okay? Do I need to step off the bus for a minute? Like, what is going on? I ain't gonna lie. It had me dying for a minute when he kept saying that. I say what I want to say. When he started saying that, it was like a fucking 3-year-old in Walmart having a temper tantrum because he couldn't have the toy that he wanted. That's what Orlando looked like on that bus at that moment. Literally. Now, after they get Orlando calmed down, everybody's on the bus, they chilling, they talking, we think everything's good, and then a fist comes out of nowhere and Orlando just strikes Ara in the shoulder. And it's like, oh shit. So everybody's getting up, security's getting up, all hell's about to break loose. And I'm just like, God damn, Orlando, just when we thought you were a sane, normal civilian and we were rooting for you, here you go. Blowing the fuck up, like showing us a side to you that we've never seen before. And you know, I'm like, you're that upset that Ara asked you a question? Like, it is so obvious that some of these men do not know how to have a conversation. Speak, talk things out like men. Like, their first reaction to everything is swing your fist. Start fighting. Let's just start fighting right off the bat. I'm like, Ara never insulted Orlando. He never threatened Orlando. Nothing. Was it the alcohol? One of the boys mentioned maybe he was drunk. Like, was it the alcohol? Is he off his meds? Is it the alcohol and his meds mixed? Because, you know, you ain't supposed to be mixing some of that medication with alcohol. But do y'all see? I always talk about how energy transfers, and it's so true. If you're in a room with a bunch of happy people, you're going to be happy. If you're in a room with a bunch of motherfuckers who are fighting, it's going to make you mad at some point, and you're going to want to start swinging. And that's what happened. All this energy amongst Chef D swinging on Raz B and all this rah, 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 it's transferred, and it's hit Orlando. And now he's ready to go. He's what? You know what I'm saying? Now, if y'all notice, during that situation between Ara and Orlando, when they're going back and forth on the bus, you know, back and forth, one thing that I noted that Orlando said to Ara while they were on the bus was, he said, "You was sitting between my legs in the club like a hoe, and everybody saw it." And that little comment there, nobody really addressed it. And I'm sitting here like, wait a minute. Wait, what? Okay, so let me say that again. Orlando said to Ara, "You was sitting between my legs in the club like a hoe, and everybody saw it." And I'm just like, I have so many questions here. First of all, if that was the case, and Ara was in between your legs in the club like a hoe, why didn't you say something? Or did you say something? Why not address it there? Push him away. Did you let him sit there? Why is this just now coming out on the bus? Like, I have so many questions because, listen, if a straight man is sitting in the club and a gay man comes and sits between his legs, most straight men are going to be like, bro, what the fuck? Get the fuck off of me. You ain't even got to be straight. You can just be anybody. Come sit between your legs unwanted. You're going to be like, what the fuck? So I'm confused as to what Orlando, like, did Ara sit between your legs? Did you let him sit between your legs and you liked it in that moment? And now you're on the bus and you're thinking about that and you're internalized whatever, you know, I don't want to say homophobia because I don't think he's homophobic, but do you have bisexual tendencies and you hate that about yourself? Like, what? I just didn't, somebody help me understand him saying, "You was sitting in between my legs in the club like a hoe, and everybody saw it." If everybody saw it, he sat there long enough for them to see it. Something ain't making sense here. Something ain't making sense here. And I just got questions and I want to know. I'm going to try to get Ara on the after show. I'm going to try to set up an interview with him. And maybe I can get him up here and maybe we can talk about that. Now, another thing I noticed with Orlando, and this is why I think something is off with the mental instability, after all, is because did y'all hear how Orlando was going back and forth from 1 minute calling Ara a hoe and a bitch, motherfucker, this and that, to the next minute saying, I love you, I got love for you. Like, it was just very erratic. It was very hot and cold. Like, I'm really starting to see signs of delusion when it comes to Orlando. And I don't want that. I want the best for him. I was happy to see the same normal him. And I'm hoping we continue to see that. I don't want to see him in a downward mental spiral. But that's what it was giving tonight. Let's just be honest. What do y'all think about that whole situation between Ara and Orlando? Now, let's talk about Chris. Who is Chris, you might ask? Zeus, if you're listening, if you're watching, anybody from the Zeus Network, give Chris a raise. Who is Chris, you may be wondering? Chris was that big-ass security guard that shoved Chef D to the ground so goddamn quick. I loved every minute of it, okay? I was clapping for that man. I was cheering for that man. He deserves a raise for his swift actions, his very prompt and swift that he gave Chef D. Do you hear me? I was getting my entire motherfucking life. So here's what happened if you didn't watch. I know some of y'all don't be watching the actual episodes. You come here for the recap. So I got you. Let me tell y'all what happened. So Chef D will not give it up when it comes to Carry On. He keeps trying to run up on Carry On and attack him out of nowhere. So Chef D gets off the bus. All of a sudden, we see him dart towards Carry On. Carry On kind of hides behind Chris, the security guard. He kind of bolts behind Chris. At the same time, Chris is also pushing Carry On behind him. Did y'all notice that? He was kind of protecting Carry On in that moment. And as soon as he pulled Carry On behind him, Chris put his arms up like this, and he shoved D so hard that D's big 6'7" ass, bam, hit the ground. And I was just like, yes, Chris. Yes, Chris. Yes. Yes, Chris. You have been doing what I wanted somebody on this cast to do from motherfucking day one. You hear me? D went D went tumbling like motherfucking Humpty Dumpty down the wall, bitch. And I was here for it all, okay? Every minute of it. Chef D, you're a big ass joke. With a capital J. You are a big ass joke. And then after Chris throws his ass to the ground, he gets up and tries to laugh it off. Chris, man, I got you, Chris. How you gonna do me like that, Chris? Yeah, Chris embarrassed your big ass, didn't he? Because you thought you was fixing to have a moment. Skirt! Stop. On the ground you go, mutt. What Rolly say? You mangy mutt. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. He's sitting there trying to laugh it off now that he's got embarrassed with his booty sitting up on his back. Did y'all notice that? Chef D's booty cheeks literally sit up on his back right here. And he walking around strutting them big old ass cheeks everywhere he go, trying to run shit, looking like Tyler Perry in Medea. How you doing? Now, speaking of Chef Boyardee, Chef D, I figured out why he's doing all this fighting. I've cracked the code. Do y'all want to know why? I figured out why he's doing all this craziness. And if you paid attention in tonight's episode, if you paid attention, you will see why he's been doing all this extra rah-rah shit. And it's very simple. He's trying to impress Jonathan. Swear. It's very simple. And I clocked it in his confessional. Because if you notice, in Chef D's confessional, when he's referring to Jonathan, he keeps calling Jonathan my twin, my twin. Y'all know when when Jonathan found out that production wrecked his truck, because production ended up wrecking Jonathan's truck. He's got like a mobile hair salon, I think, or something. I don't know what it was. Some kind of truck, big truck that Jonathan has. Production was driving it for him and they wrecked it. So D was talking about the whole truck situation and he was like, they done wreck my twin's truck. They done wreck my twin. And I said, it all makes sense now. It all makes sense. Chef D watched season 1. He saw how much people loved Jonathan on season 1. He's trying to emulate what Jonathan gave last season. He's trying to be the Jonathan of this season. And not only that, he wants to get the stamp of approval from Jonathan. He wants Jonathan to be like, yo, that's my twin. He's just like me. He fights just like me. But this is the thing. This is the thing, Stunt Queen. Chef Boyardee, punk faker. This is the thing. You will never be Jonathan because Jonathan is Jonathan. You need to be yourself. But that's the problem, Chef D. I don't think you even know who you are. You try to be Natalie Nunn one day, the next day you try to be Jonathan. Like, stop. You look like a joke. You look like a clown. We're not laughing with you. We're laughing at you. Jonathan probably talks shit about you behind your back when you're not around. You're probably just his show friend. You're probably not his real friend in real life. And it's embarrassing. And now we see why you're doing it. You're trying to impress him. You're trying to be the Jonathan of the season. When in reality, you're the Biggie of the season. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I would rather have had Milan Christopher from last season back than I would have rather had Chef D. Y'all should have brought Milan fucking messy ass clout chasing Christopher back before you brought back Chef D. Hell, at least Milan's good to look at. Shit. I mean, damn. Now, meanwhile, Prince is off in a field somewhere. They on the side, the car is parked on the side of the road because they trying to let all the fighting die down. Prince is out in a field somewhere because he said his anxiety is so bad that he's shaking. And I'm like, God, that's that energy transferring again. It's got everybody shook up. But I'm like, you that shook up, Prince? You that shook up? I wouldn't have been that. I'm not a fighter like Prince. I don't like to fight like that. I will, but I don't like to. But I'm not going to be in the field shaking and worried. I mean, shit. You got all this security around. Ain't nobody chasing after you, Prince. You'd have been all right. Come on now. Come on. You a bad boy, Prince. Now, Rel and Big Lou were clowning Prince on the bus headed to Austin. They weren't clowning him to his face, but they were talking about him behind his back because they took separate vehicles. But they were clowning Prince, and they were like, oh, he had an anxiety attack in the field. They were calling him Princess. Rel says he thinks that Bad Boys may not be the right fit for him, the right place for him, the right show for him. What do y'all think? Do y'all think Prince belongs on Bad Boys? Or do y'all think with him having his anxiety attacks and him shaking that maybe he's too much of a nervous wreck for the show? Listen, I don't think... I think he belongs on the show because here's the thing. I don't think Bad Boys Club should be all about fighting. You know, if every single person on this cast was a Jonathan, it would be too much. It would be boring. We'd get sick of the just nonstop rah, 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 rah every day, all day. You need some balance. You need some balance when it comes to these type of things. And I don't think Bad Boys should just be about who can play Street Fighter the best, you know? I like to see personality, who can read the best, comical moments, those types of things. And we can get those type of things out of Prince. He was casted on Love and Hip Hop for a reason. Originally, he's got personality about himself. Now, they make it to Austin, Texas, finally. And Natalie FaceTimes Relly, and she says that it's time to bring in a replacement for Anthony, which I'm curious to see who it is going to be. Now, the next day rolls around. It's the next day. All the fights are over. Everybody's tired. Everybody want to go to bed. But we got D, Lou, and Relly. They pull up and they roll up on Carry-On, Prince, Mo, and Raz. And I told y'all, it felt like at the beginning the house was kind of divided. And it is at this point. You've got Carry-On, Prince, Mo, and Raz kind of on a little team over here. Then you got Chef D, Lou, Relly, and Jonathan on another team over here. And then you kind of got your floaters like Ara, you know, he kind of floats on his own, stands on his own. He's not really in a clique. He kind of goes between the two. But anyway, we see D, Lou, and Relly roll up on Carry-On, Prince, Mo, and Raz at this house. Because Carry-On, Prince, Mo, and Raz, they got to the house first. They've already chosen their rooms. And then D, Lou, and Rel pull up. Now, D is still with the shits when it comes to his money. After all the shit they went through, after being tired as fuck, everybody wanting to go to bed, D is still on his shit because he's mad that Carry-On and Raz did not pay their part on the bottle. So D instantly, there is not even no small talk. D instantly runs up again on Carry-On and tries to bully and bulldoze him. And of course, security steps in. We get the next time on Bad Boys, and they cut the episode. Now, the episode ends, and we see a sneak peek for next week, which shows us a glance of the replacement. Natalie brings the replacement in, and as soon as the replacement walks in, D, again, bulldozes and charges right at the person and starts trying to fight them. And I'm like, God damn. Now it makes me wonder, who is the replacement? Does this person have history with Chef D to where he's running up on him and fighting him? Or is Chef D just that fucking thirsty for attention that he's yet again trying to fight someone else? I don't know. Now, I have heard that the replacement's name is Adonis. Adonis, Adnois. I don't know much about him. I just saw this tea online, so we'll have to wait until next week to see who the replacement really is. Is it this Adonis person, or is it someone else? It's not a celebrity from what I'm gathering, from what the sources in the tea are saying. I think it's someone who auditioned. So I'm interested to see, maybe it's someone that Chef D fought with at the auditions, and that's why he's running up on him. I don't know. We'll have to find out next week. Make sure you tune in next week for another after show of Bad Boys Texas. And if you haven't already, go ahead and check out the Baddies West Reunion Part 2 after show, where we break everything down regarding that if you haven't checked it out already. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button right below this video to get locked in to all things Damieon After Dark, and turn on your post notifications so you never miss a beat. Also, hit the thumbs up button and click that like button right below this video. When you do that, you support the channel here, and YouTube sends this video out to millions of people so they can find us just like you found us. Last but not least, join the conversation. What did you think of this episode? And what do y'all think about Chef D just running up on any and everybody that is there? Also, who do you think the replacement is? Do y'all have any idea on who the replacement is? I would love to hear from you. What do y'all think about Carry-On running away from Chef D as Chef D ran up on him? Listen, there's so much that we could sit here and talk about, but you know we only got about a 30-minute limit here. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love you, love you, love you, each and every one of you, from the bottom of my heart, for every comment, every like, every view. Everything that you do, I appreciate the support more than you will ever know. Y'all are my people. Y'all are my family. And we will see you next time on Damieon After Dark. See ya.